Hello! Welcome back! So I am going to talk about my least favorite books that I read in 2024. If you want to know what my favorite books were from the year, you can check that video out as well. This video I suspect will be shorter because I don't really want to dwell on books that I did not like, but regardless, we should talk about them. Just for records, you know? So I have 11 that ended up in the 2-star bracket. I didn't have any that were in the 1-star bracket, which is really great. I think this is the first year that I haven't read any books that I rated 1 star, which is perfect. I love that. So, okay, let's go from 2.75, 2.5, and then 2-star. So, 2.75, Nightmare Virus by Nadine Brandes. I just did not love this one. It was way too much going on. Nothing really seemed cohesive. Yeah, I just thought this one was a big miss, and therefore I think going forward I'm only going to stick with Nadine Brandes' historical fantasy retellings, because those ones are a bigger hit for me than her other books. So there's that one. Echo Island by Jared C. Wilson was a YA dystopian sci-fi kind of deal where these teenagers are on an island and then they're like on a camping trip, and then they try to go home, and when they go home nobody's there. Like literally nobody's there. Like the whole entire town is empty. Like there's houses and everything, but there's no animals and there's no people, and there's no sign of an evacuation, there's no sign of an abduction. Like it just seems weird. So it started off really great. I love that kind of weird kind of plot premise, and let's do this. But as long as the story progressed and unfolded, I found it to get boring, which I don't like when that happens. I don't know what it is. I think some authors have really great ideas, but they write the book before the really great idea has a really great finish. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it felt a little bit like the story kind of fell off, and therefore it went downhill very fast. The next one, 6 Crimson Cranes by, who's the author of that one? Elizabeth Lim. This is another fairy tale retelling of, I forget which fairy tale it is, but there was just the way that the sorcery and demons were discussed and depicted really bothered me. I can deal with it if it's written a certain way, but the way that this book was written, I did not like it at all. So that's why I gave that one a low rating. Heart of Ice is actually a Christian author. However, this is written by Liz Well, and this is the 3rd book of a trilogy. I really enjoyed the first book like a lot. It surprised me that how much I liked it. The second one was less so, and then this one was no. And this has one of those storytelling methods, I guess, where the author writes in the mind of a psychopath or sociopath, psychopath, I'm not really sure. I can't really remember details to which one this person was, but it was very disturbing, and I hate hearing inside the mind of a psychopath or sociopath when they're being bad, I guess. You know what I mean? So that does not sit well with me, so that's why that one got a low rating. The next one is Water's Break, which I love mermaids, and you'll hear this in my favorites of 2024 video, that I love mermaids, and this one is a mermaid story, and it is a new release, and it's written by a Christian author, so everything looks like it should go well. But I did not really care for this story. I didn't like the world, I didn't like the characters, I didn't like what the story, where it went, like what was happening. I just didn't like any of it. So, I mean, if you want to try it, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to say don't try the book unless it's like intensely bad. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. I just did not like this one. The next one, Finding Lady Anderley, which is a Joanna Davidson Politano, which I know so many of my friends really love. And I read this one early on in the year, and unfortunately, I just gave it a rating. I didn't give it a review on Goodreads, so I'm not going to be able to remember what I didn't like about it, which is too bad. I don't know. I'm not willing to reread it to write a review, but I apparently didn't like that one. So, okay, another one which was a new release from a Christian author was The Chaos Grid. So there could have been a few factors going into why I rated this one so low. First person, present tense, which I hate that combination. I hate present tense in general, like I don't love that at all. And first person can only work for me in certain situations. So right off the bat, we're not starting off on a solid foot. And then I think I was a little bit in a reading slump, so it's harder to love books when you're in a reading slump. There were a couple of abuses of God's name, which I always find peculiar in Christian books. Like, I don't get it. And then, so the whole book, there's no talk about God, so then I'm thinking, okay, well, this is in a different world. It's not in our world. But then near the end, there's a few references about God, and then I'm like, I'm so confused now. Is this, like, what's happening? Yeah, I just didn't like it. The story could have been good, I think, written differently, but yeah, just was not my jam. Then 2.5 star. I only have one book in the 2.5 star bracket, and that is, again, King's Feather, which is written by a Christian author and well loved in the Christian community. So again, I'm on my own. But I think I was just tired of the YA-ness, if you guys know what I mean. If you are an avid reader and you read a lot of YA books, specifically YA fantasy, you'll know what I mean. Like, it felt so YA. Like, there were so many cliches, and I just wasn't here for it. I wanted something different. I wanted it to be something different. And maybe it would be really good if I wasn't burnt out on YA. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if I was a young adult and I had only read a handful of young adult fantasy, this book would be like awesome. So I think this one I think is more of a me problem. I don't think it's a book problem. So now we're into the last three, which are 2 stars. And that is Fatherless by James Dobson, which is funny because it's also written by a Christian author. A very well-known doctor in the Christian community. I really like what he's brought to the Christian market. But this book was a big miss for me because as the topic is largely surrounding abortion and anti-abortion and those kinds of themes, with that frame of mind, with that perspective going in, it also made people who are childless by choice seem like they were doing something wrong, which I don't agree with the message. So yeah, it hit me very wrong that way, and I don't like that, and I did not like the book. The next book was Kiss by Ted Decker. Now, this one, again, I should look into it because I don't really remember. This one I read early on in the year, so I don't remember what I didn't like about it, and wouldn't you know it, I didn't write a review on it on Goodreads. So I don't know. Honestly, it is written by Ted Decker and Aaron Healy, and I think I've tried Aaron Healy before and I also hadn't liked that one. So it might be more so her influence on the story, but I just did not like this book at all. So it got a 2 star. And then my last one, which is, it's a bit of a throwaway answer, but it's this, it's called Ghosts, and it was, I had heard about it on YouTube somewhere, and I just wanted to try it because that person on YouTube was talking about a story, and I thought it seemed like an interesting story. So this is a compilation of little ghost stories for kids. So I think it's like even a book where you're learning to read kind of a book, and I just didn't like it. So that's all. There was nothing like specifically wrong with it. I just didn't like it. So yeah. That is it. That is all I will talk about for the worst books of 2024. I know a few of them are well loved in the Christian community, and I'm so sorry. I'm usually the odd duck out, so yeah, what can I say? But I am looking forward to what 2025 has to bring and the amazing books that I will find in 2025. And no doubt there will be some duds and some that will end up on my worst of the year at the end of next year. But that's how it goes when you're a reader, right? Not every book will hit. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. And don't forget to check out the video where I talk about my favorite books of 2025. Do all the things, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. All that stuff really helps me out. And I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!